everybody. It's Henry at Mowers and Blowers. It's a beautiful, crisp, cool day on the first day of fall. Finally, I've gotten some of my smaller things taken care of, such as, those two push mowers that I had. I like to get them out of the way so that I don't have to think about it later, I don't want to be working on something else while I'm doing it. I'm thinking, damn it, I still got to get to those push mowers, It just doesn't make me at ease, So now I'm at ease and got to tackle the second to last of my two lawn tractors that still haven't been worked on yet. I've made a lot of progress in the past couple of months. I had about 8 lawn tractors in the backyard. As you guys saw, I was on that run of picking up free lawn tractors or through trade, without engines. Miraculously, I don't know how I did it, but I've gotten 6 out of the way, sold a couple of them, and this is the second to last one. This is the Pete Lombardi LT1000 from Craftsman. He gave it to me through a trade. I traded him my little Wonder leaf blower, ground blower that he wanted. So he gave me this. He gave it to me in pieces. Initially, when he got this for free, the top crankshaft seal had a leak, and so the owner of it threw it out. Pete picked it up. He fixed the seal, so now supposedly it doesn't leak. Honestly, it doesn't look like it was leaking at all. I mean, there is a lot of oil residue, but not so much on the top. So we'll see. Guess it looks all right. But anyway, it was all in pieces. It was missing a carburetor, a starter, and a magneto. I fortunately had a Kohler carburetor that I had bought for another tractor, and because just looking at it, I anticipated that I'm going to need a new carburetor. But in fact, while I was waiting for the carburetor to be sent, I was working on the old one and got it to work, so I didn't need this new one. So I just had this stored in my parts bin for a bit. So now I'm good to use it, It's the same one for this command. I got this starter. Usually the starters are pretty expensive. The aftermarket ones are like $35, which isn't too bad, $35, $40. The OEM ones are very expensive, $50 and higher, used. So I bought this for $22 used. It's a pretty good deal. Comes with this old, we call that, the bracket. Install that. Ooh, a free Dixie plate. I can eat my sandwich on this. The eBay listing said it worked. Good thing about eBay is, if it doesn't work, you can trash the guy's feedback. And if you trash the guy's feedback enough, he won't be able to sell on eBay anymore. And if you guys know, if you've ever been suspended on eBay, it's a world of hurt, because eBay is a privilege. Okay? Don't take eBay for granted. You can make a living on eBay if you have a lot of parts. It looks like it's in great condition. The gears are okay. A little bit of wear. But trust me, I've had way worse condition starters. So let's hope this works. This is a Chinese carburetor. It's a copy. It's cheap. 11 bucks, 12 bucks, something like that. Should be just plug and play. Just put it on. This is a non-OEM Magneto for the Kohler command 125-8404S, and a lot of other part numbers, but that's the main one. The interesting about the Kohler command magnetos is that the tab for the kill switch, the kill wire, is actually always placed on top, whereas Briggs and Tecumseh is on the bottom. Kohler's the only one that has it on top. Even though this one doesn't say put it on top, However, it does have an arrow here. Arrow. I wonder what that means. They couldn't just write top. They have to put an arrow there and makes you guess what it is. Well, we'll see. I'm going to be putting this on rather quickly. So before I put the flywheel on, I wanted to inspect everything first. You know, you want to make sure everything's good before you put the flywheel on. The stator looks good. I don't see any broken wires. It's secured on here pretty well. I don't know if Pete took it off to change the seal. Honestly, the seal looks a little crooked. I'm going to get a screwdriver. So now it looks okay. It looked a little crooked. Pete's like, what do you mean crooked? It's not crooked. Perfect. Alright, we'll see if Pete's seal install was successful. Line up the flywheel along with the keyway. And impact it on. Believe it or not, this bolt is actually a 13 millimeter. Not a 9/16 or a half like it usually is. I'm going to keep doing it until it stops turning. Still move a little. Move a little. Move a little. Move a little. You know what? That's it. I'm not going to push my luck because I've had Kohler ones strip and won't be able to get it off again. So this is I believe it's a 16 horsepower Kohler command. Love Kohler commands. I've never had a blown Kohler command. They're bulletproof in my opinion, as long as you take care of the Earl. So now what we're going to do is, I don't have original bolts for the Magneto, but I found two that fit. As long as they fit and stay on there, it'll be fine. Like I said, in my experience, the Kohlers went on top, like that. The kill wire goes on top, not the bottom. That's my experience. You guys double check me if I'm wrong, but every Kohler command engine that I've had, the Magneto kill tab was on the top, not the bottom. So I'm just going to install it that way. However, I did have a Kohler Courage that it worked either way, so it didn't matter. So I'm going to rotate the magnet to where the Magneto is. It's under some pressure here. I can feel it. I'm trying to pull it away, you know. So it's a pretty strong magnet, and it's sticking right to it, see? So I'm going to put a business card, because a business card is about 10/1000ths. That's the air gap you want in between. Can't be too wide or too narrow or too close. You just want it as close to the flywheel as possible without touching. I'm using this pterodactyl business card that I got from my friends over at Pro Parts Direct. I'm still waiting for those inner tubes there, Ed. Just a friendly reminder, can't do anything without those inner tubes. So that was a little stripped on the inside. So I had to find a longer bolt with fresh threads to get it all the way deep, right? But once you went all the way down, this bolt wouldn't touch this anymore. So I had to get some kind of a spacer in there just to get it tight. So it was a pain in the ass because I didn't have the original bolts, right? I had to go look for some. So I found some. It's nice and tight on there now. Just roll this again, and it is within 10/1000ths, and it's nice and tight. Not the conventional way to do it, obviously, but do what you can when you don't have the original bolts. I'm going to attach the kill wire on here to the Magneto. And looks like now we could actually put the Carburetor on. So I have the linkage in a box. Pete had put all the spare parts that he took off in here, at least most of them. And I found this one. So this is the throttle linkage. This is the choke, right? This throttle linkage is supposed to go into this hole, right? And it's supposed to also have a smaller one. A smaller wire one with the spring on it. That's not here. And also there's supposed to be some kind of a rubber little spacer flange thing that goes here that holds it there. That I don't have either. So I'm gonna have to go look around for something that'll do, because that's not gonna work if I don't do it, you know? Gotta do it. So I'll have to go and look around for something that'll fit that, you know? This freely moving screw here, I assume, was for the ground to the fuel solenoid wire, which I'm not going to use because this one doesn't have a fuel solenoid. Not that I want a fuel solenoid anyway, but I'll have to look for that little thing. So I was in luck. I looked in my box of carburetors, and I have actually an original Walbro Kohler carburetor. And it had this little plastic thing that went in here. And you just shove the plastic thing in here. I hope it fits, and it does fit. See? So this goes in like that in a Z-bend. Fills the gap, if you will. This is the choke. Be careful with this thing right here, always breaks. Because it's so flimsy. Okay, let me try the throttle now. Choke. This doesn't retract though, but I think once you have it going, it'll suck like that, you know? You can only find out when you find out. I also found this thing. This is from a Briggs, I believe, and you know, I don't see a hole on this one, so why would there be a thing there, you know? Unless you need that to return, which is what it wasn't doing. See? It goes forward, it doesn't go back. So maybe you need it to pull back. But for it to be on the hole on that side is a little weird, you know? Plus, there's no hole in this one. Unless it went into the same hole, which I doubt. You know what? I'm going to leave it off for now. Gasket's there. This is the gasket. It goes here. This thing, remember, this part here goes onto the breather. I don't really know how important that breather is. I don't really think it's that important. But it's here, so I'm going to put it together. And of course I need the screws to hold this together, and I don't know if I have them. And I do not have them, so I need to go find some nuts that will fit this stud. Thanks, Pete. Thanks for saving all the stuff for me. Found a couple of 7/16. Went right on there. Nice and tight. Okay, need a fuel line, so this is going to be gravity fed, and get a hose fuel line that connects to a fuel tank, which I still have to find with a fuel cap. Get a fuel filter and a fuel shutoff to put on this line over here. So there's the line from the fuel tank. I don't have a fuel tank yet, but that's the line to it. Now I'm going to get another hose and put that on the other end of this fuel filter. These fuel filters are cheap. They're made for gravity-fed fuel tanks because there's no paper filter in there. It's just like a mesh thing that basically just keeps large debris, that like leaves or something, or twigs that may have fallen into the gas tank while you're changing the while you're adding gas. Just add that on there. I'm going to kind of measure how far it'll be to get there, and you want to cut it right around here for the fuel shutoff, which is what I'm going to do right now. I'll cut it right around there. I'm going to put another hose clamp in here. I'm going to put a fuel shutoff right here. Obviously it's so tight that you don't even really need a clamp, but just to make sure, because over time the fuel maybe might soften it. And now I'm going to attach another clamp onto here. I know you guys all know this stuff. This is for the new watchers who don't know this stuff. It just shows how easy it is to put a fuel shutoff and a fuel filter onto your line. This is preventative maintenance. And then you measure about there. You want to give it a little bit more slack. You know, you could always use more fuel line than less. So always overestimate instead of underestimate, because if you're too short, you're screwed. If you're too long, you could always cut a little bit off. I probably should have gotten a fuel tank first, so I don't have to cut off that end. So I'm going to attach this to the end of the carburetor fuel intake nozzle. I know I'm going to take that off again. I just know it. There you go. Now we have a fuel line with a fuel shutoff, with a fuel filter, all the way to where the gas tank is. And I still need to find a gas tank. So, let's see. Did the fuel line, put the carburetor on, put the Magneto on. Now we've got the starter. So now we're on the right side of the tractor, and as you can see, there's a lot of Earl residue there, right? So there's a lot, as I always say, while you're here, clean your shit. Gotta clean your shit, guys. Man, that's really baked on. The reason why you want to get it out is not just for cosmetic reasons, right? But when the engine's nice and hot, right? This Earl will seemingly look like it's wet because it's melting, and it'll drip. So it'll give you a false sense of like, ooh, do I have a leak somewhere? You know? So when you get rid of most of the Earl that's encased on the engine block, and as you use it, it's not going to melt, not melt, but you know, get wet. and maybe even cause smoke in the really high heat areas, such as the muffler, you know. The muffler will usually just burn off all the oil in that area anyway, because it's just so hot over there. But look at that. Makes you feel better too. And of course I'm putting this all onto that's right, my new driveway. But you know what? This is all dusty now, so I'm going to just blow it all off onto my lawn. My front lawn is in complete disarray because as they were spending a month or so fixing my driveway, they had the saw just cutting the tiles, and there's dust like for a month build up on my lawn, so my lawn doesn't grow grass anymore. I'm gonna get my vac chipper sucker vacuum, because I've got this I want to say oak tree. It's got I'm like the only guy that has an oak tree that has these acorns that fall. I mean, tens of thousands of acorns all over my lawn. I'm like the only guy in the neighborhood who's lucky enough to have one. It's driving me crazy. I emailed the town and all that stuff. I says, come get rid of this tree or I'm going to cut it down, because the tree actually belongs to the town. And they just ignore me. So in the meantime, while I'm contemplating just cutting the tree myself, right, I have tens of thousands of acorns that fall on a daily basis. Just picture squirrels on top of the trees. They said, hey, there's Henry. He's doing another video. Let's throw acorns at him. Basically, that's what happens. That's what they do. They throw acorns at me. So that's nice and clean. Now I'm going to mount the starter. So here's the starter. So you wonder, does it go on like this? Or does it go on like this? Well, it couldn't go on like this because there's no space. This will hit. This is protruding out a little bit, so it fits perfectly, just like that. When 12-volt power is going to this, the gear thing shoots upwards, makes contact with the teeth on the flywheel, and spins it. So now you're thinking, well, does this part go on the top or the bottom? Well, I'm trying to find that out myself right now, because it doesn't appear like it'll fit unless this is on the top. As you can see, this is a little bent over here. So I'm going to use the one that I got from the mail. See? Now that fits, right? If you put it this way, it wouldn't fit. So it has to be this way. I guess they design it that way so you can't make a mistake. I will say though that I think the design's a little funny, because you've got the terminal over here, right? And I guess it does fit okay. But since the wire is on the left side, why don't they make the terminal here? You know? Because this has to reach around the bottom like that. So I'm gonna tighten that. $10mm. Don't want to over tighten. Just a couple of clicks is okay. This should be 7/16. I don't have a battery on it, so I'm not worried about it. If you did have a battery on it, you want to disconnect the negative ground, because you don't want to go zzz. This thing touches the engine block, you're going to get a zzz. How does that sound go again? Everybody say it together. 7/16. So you don't want to turn this too hard, because it'll turn the inside bolt nut too. If you turn the inside bolt nut, there's two wires that are connected to it. If you keep turning it, that wires will go around the shaft and break. Then your starter is done-ski. So I'm going to get two 7/16 wrenches, one that's been ground down so it fits in between these two areas. So here we go. I've got two 7/16 wrenches. This one here, as you can see, I've grinded it down so that it's thinner. So if it's thinner, it'll fit right there. So you hold that down while you turn this one. So my wife is home. It's rare that she's home because she works for the airline, so she's always away on a trip or something. She's actually the breadwinner of the family. Somebody's got to be home to take care of the kid, you know? Drive your daughter to soccer practice, pick her up, drive her to school, all that stuff. Instead of spending thousands of dollars on daycare, I do it. And I wrench during the day. See? It's a perfect situation. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, she wanted to wash the cars while I'm doing this, right? So I said, do you want to be in the video? She goes, I don't want to be in your stupid videos. She doesn't really talk that way, but it's more interesting when I do that voice. So, here we go. It's tightened. Got it mounted, right? I maybe should tighten this more. But now I'm thinking if I did do it, right? What if I stripped the bolt? It would just cause a lot more problems. So I'm going to use restraint and stop myself from clicking it anymore. Don't do it. Just walk away. It's good enough. Sometimes you have to do that, you know? Save yourself a headache. I'm going to get the top engine cover cowling. Let's check the Earl. There's no Earl in it. Bone dry. Remind me to put Earl in it, okay? I'm gonna go to the backyard and look for a fuel tank. Because you gotta have a fuel tank. I'm in the backyard behind my makeshift tent. Not makeshift tent, but, you know, my thing. This is dirty, but I believe this is a LT1000 gas tank. This one is too, but I don't like the red. I do not have a cap for this though. I remember I had a cap, but I don't know where it went. Here's a cap from a John Deere. Fits. It won't let me get this off. There we go. Yeah, baby. This is it. This is the gas tank we will use. Like I always say, never throw your stuff away. Ooh, that rhymed. Boba. Oops. So inside this gas tank, kind of dirty inside, you know, dust and stuff. So I'm just going to stick my finger here. I guess I could just block it off with something, but I'm just going to stick it in here. Got this old remained gas that I didn't throw out because I use it to clean stuff, you know. Soak carburetors in, whatever. So I'm just going to shake this around. I guess I'm going to have to dump it somewhere. Dump it back in here. But Henry, what about the stuff on the inside? Yeah, you're right. Gonna have to blow it out anyway. Come on. Tangled web. Filters for, right? See how that fits? Perfectly. Let's find that fuel line here. There it is. Gotta find some 3/8 bolts to put this on too. Take the hose clamp. Move it to the bottom. Nice. Fits good. I'm sorry, fits well. Hose clamp back on again. Now to find some 3/8 bolts. I believe it's 3/8. You know what? It needs a couple of washers. Needs a few washers. The washers help hold the tank. Good to go. Okay, so got the Magneto on, the flywheel, fuel line, carburetor, gas tank, starter. Now we should put the battery on. I'm not going to put the engine cover on yet because we want to make sure this thing runs before we put the carburetor, the engine cover on. So now's the battery. This is my famous EverStart garden battery, 230 CCA cold crank amps, group size U1R. As you can see, I just got this from Home Depot, August of 2019. This is $21.97 at Walmart. Don't ever buy anything more than that because this is all you need. I find that it lasts a good 2-3 years, if not longer. So for 20 bucks, how do you go wrong? You can't go wrong. Looking at the lengths here, The positive wire is longer than the negative wire, so I want to just see. You want the negative wire closer to the negative, and the positive will be, because it's longer, you have some to spare. That's how you got to measure things. Yeah, it fits perfectly, and I'm going to bend this a little like that. Bend it like Henry. Pain in the ass. I always have to look for battery mounting bolts. Always I got to look for it. It took me like forever to find battery terminal stuff. I can never find them, ever. Well, got a battery, got a starter, it's connected. Just need a key. They never give me a key to this. That's okay, I got lots of keys. Basically, any key fits this, okay? You just have to turn it hard. Let's see if it cranks. I got the brake down. Actually, it doesn't fit. Yep, it fits, okay. Yep. It cranks. Now we gotta put some Earl in there. Ah, you guys see? You guys forgot to tell me. Gotta put some Earl in there. Earl. So tractor engines usually take 1.3 or so, and I just remembered that this is a Kohler. I believe Kohler recommends 10W30 in their engines, but I'm gonna recheck that. It's a good thing I remembered. So, I was right. It's a good thing I checked. Kohler commands. This is the CV460S. They don't take SAE30, although you could probably use it and be fine. They recommend 10W30. And it takes 1.9 quarts, almost 2 quarts of Lucas oil. 10W30. Fortunately, my buddies over at Lucas Oil Products think of everything. They said, hey Henry, what about the Kohler engines? They take 10W30. You have any of that? I'm like, well, that's great. Send me some. But we will. Boom. Just like that. I'm telling you, those guys over at Lucas Oil Products are so thoughtful. I don't have too many Kohler engines, so here we go. We'll put one full quart in there just for now. Check the levels just to make sure. Didn't seem like there was any Earl in here at all. Earl! Oh, lubricates the joints. Earl! Alright, enough of that. You can just see it now. My wife comes out. What's that funny noise? While I'm waiting for the oil to settle, I'm going to add some gassage. We're almost close to starting this thing, you know? We're putting gas in it and Earl. We're close to starting this. What do you guys think? You think this will start? I personally think that oil seal on the top part of the crankshaft is a little hinky. It just didn't look 100% right to me. But you know what? I trust Pete Lombardi. He knows enough. But it looked a little crooked to me. That's just me. It looked a little crooked. That's funny. I don't see any Earl in there. None. Wow, that's a big crankcase, man. why it's 2 full quarts. Damn. Alright. Now it's just residue from the sidewalls. Man, there's hardly any in there. Put my second quart of SAE-10W30 from Lucas Oil Products. I guess I'm just going to dump half of this in there at least. Now that's more than what I normally put into lawn tractors, you know, right there. And that's like 1.5. Let it set it for a bit. They're right on the money, let me tell you. It's at the add line. So I'm just going to dump the rest of this in here. It was right on the money. 1.9. Almost 2 quarts of Earl. I won't put all of this in there because it's 1.9, not 2. And there might have been just a little bit in there too, so I'm sure this is just fine. Okay, guess what? We're going to start this mamma jamma. Damn, I just checked it again, man. It wants me to put more in. I'm just going to dump the whole thing in there. That's 2 full quarts in there, even though it said 1.9. But I'm telling you, the level is just under the, just a little bit above the add line, halfway to the full. So it takes a lot of oil. That should be more than enough. Okay, fellas, here we go. I'm so nervous. Got oil, got gas, fuel shut off is off. There's no leaks. Of course, I don't smell anything either. Battery, choke. Here we go. Take it off the choke. Let me spray some spray into the carb. Maybe it might not be getting gas. That'll be enough. Let's see. Okay, it starts. We're not getting any fuel to the carburetor. That's what it is. I'm going to put this towel here. I'm going to disconnect this fuel line here and see if any fuel is coming out. Hello, McFly. Hello. No fuel's coming out. What's up with that, man? What's up with that, bro? You know what? From the shadow, I can see fuel in here. So let's disconnect this part here and see if this is the stoppage. Does fuel pour out of here? Fuel pours out of here. So is it this? So let's take this part out. It's not the nozzle, so it's this piece right here. Strange. Let's clear. Really strange. It's coming out now. Man, that's just odd. Maybe if I blow, I'm gonna blow. Pouring out, man. Now, but it's gotta be good. That's odd. I don't know why it wasn't, you know, flowing before. But now it is. I hope. So right now, fuel should be entering the chamber of the float, the carburetor. Should be about now. Oh, you know what? I don't have this on. Duh. Alright, now it should be flowing. Flowing, flowing, flowing. And you know what they say about the Kohler command carburetors? Their seats never work right. It always leaks. But this is a Chinese copy. I bought maybe 20 of these in my life, and out of the 20, I did have one that leaked. But so far, so good. Let's give her a crank and see. Choke it. Throttle is at idle. Nice. Idles very well. That's high throttle. Shouldn't run it too long without the cover on. Alright. That's awesome, guys. Obviously, you guys realize that, what I realize, right? We have no muffler! I don't even know where the exhaust manifold is. Where is the muffler supposed to be? So I found out where the muffler is. Ready? We're gonna go on a trip. That's right. It's underneath the thing. Well, I definitely don't have a Kohler muffler that's from underneath. But I'm going to go look through my bin of parts. Well, I know for sure that if I was going to have one that's from the bottom, I would only have one. And that was off an MTD. This one here. I don't know if this flange will fit, you know. Only one way to find out. You guys are just not going to believe it. So in this bin of stuff that Pete Lombardi threw in there is an obvious muffler gasket. Muffler gasket will tell you whether or not this will fit. Like a glove. Is that insanity or what? These bolts, these nuts that were in there. A little tight, but has two studs sticking out. They seem to fit. Not that well, but you would figure there's a lot of rust on there, you know? There's two of them, so I'm assuming these are it. Oh, that one fits really well. Maybe there's another one in here that's meant for that. Oh, there is. So I might have the wrong nut here. You're a nut. Yeah, that one fits well. Holy cow. What luck, huh? What luck. Alright, let's see if this goes in. It should, since the gasket fits. Holy cow. Score! Can you believe that? Things never go my way, you know? But for me to grab a random MTD muffler out of my parts bin and for it to fit perfectly, it's just absolute insanity, man. Insanity. That's fantastic. So now we got a muffler without me having to fabricate it for a change, you know? Usually I gotta always fabricate it, weld it, and not that I mind welding, I don't mind welding at all, but look at that. That seems to fit perfectly. How did that happen? I mean, it's almost like centered in the square too, you know? Insanity. That's great. I'm gonna tighten those down. So there were 1/2-inch bolts and I tightened up the screws to the muffler. So now we're gonna just put the rest of this stuff together. It's the air filter, the wing nut that goes on. Next we have this blower fan. I believe I gotta take this mesh thing off first so I can tighten bolts onto the flywheel. Lower fans on. On the inside or the outside? Looks like it goes on the inside. It's got to be on the inside because of this. Yeah. One final one for the dipstick. Dipstick? Cletus, you dipstick!
Cletus, you know what you are? You're a dipstick. A 14-karat dipstick.
Well, I guess we're just gonna start it up with that muffler on there now. Nope. Looks like it had some Earl in the muffler. Let's let it blow that out. It's definitely from the muffler, because before we put the muffler on, there was no smoke. So I've run it about a couple of minutes, smoke went away. I gotta tell you, man, it sounds fantastic. This thing sounds absolutely fantastic, doesn't it? And, you know, it wasn't all that hard to put it together either, you know. I'm glad most of the parts were here. Not need for all the parts. Decent tractor. I remember another thing that Pete told me before he gave it to me. He says something was seized, like the brakes or something. So he took out the keyways so that it would roll. So I have to take the wheels off, put the keyways back in. Of course, he didn't give me any keyways, so I'm gonna have to go find some keyways. This tire is Dunsky. This tire is okay. The size of this tire is 18 by 9.5 by 8. Okay? I know where I can get another tire that's 18 by 9.5 by 8. I know where I can get a hood too. And a seat. Actually, I have a seat. So let's check and see what kind of tire that is. Is that 18 by 9.5 by 8? Because it'll look funny in the back if one's thicker or thinner than the other, you know? Let's see. Ho ho ho! 18 by 9 by 8! Scores! So I'm just going to take this wheel off that and put it on there. Maybe I'll use their keyways too. And there we go, fellas. While my phone was charging, I jacked that one up over there. Took the wheel off. Put it over here. I put the keys back into the axle. I took the seat from over there to over here. I took this hood off of there to here. However, it wasn't in good shape. As you can see, it's all messed up and old. So I took the nose off of it, right? And I put it onto here. The nose is kind of busted, but it's the only nose I have. I attached it onto there. This, as you guys may recall, is just a hood that I got for $5. So So I put the good hood on the bad nose of the bad hood over there. So now I'm going to put this hood on there. I've been busy while the battery is charging. Real busy. It doesn't have lights. You guys know I like lights. It doesn't have lights, but it's got a nice hood, a bad nose. But it's better than having a bad nose and a bad hood, right? So, guess what? I'm gonna go take this out for a ride. What do you think about that? Huh? You know, I gotta tell you, it's really smooth. Really smooth. Like I might have to open up that fuel mixture screw, because when it's on load, you know, the drive belt, it seems to need some more fuel. Slow it down. Yep. When it's on low throttle, it needs less fuel. And then it doesn't starve for it. That was great. That's right. The mowers at Mowers and Blowers, you push them into the garage, but I drive them out. No, might as well drive this to my backyard and hook up a trailer to it. Because my next step is checking out what I'm going to do about the mower deck. To hook up a trailer to it though, I'm going to need one of these things, put them on temporarily. If I sell it, I'm going to take it off. Could always use these. It's what I have left in the backyard. You remember? This thing was all lined up, full of tractors, without engines. Now everything you see here runs with an engine in it. That's what it looks like with a trailer. And there are the decks. So Pete gave me all those decks, all right? One of them actually belongs on... Actually, I don't even know which one belongs on what, you know? Pete says that there's one in here that belongs on the one that he gave me. So I have to find that one. I think it has a bad spindle or something. I'm going to lay them all out. So here we go. Got to lay them all out. This one against the fence is out because it's a Murray deck. I believe all these three are LT1000 decks. Some of you guys are experts at the decks. if you just look at it, this one seems like it's in better shape. Looks like it's been painted, right? But it's missing like the pulleys and stuff. This one seems more complete, but it's got the pulleys and everything, right? And the arms, just, you know, the least amount of work as possible, you know what I mean? So, this one seems okay. It's missing the spindle. I mean, the spindle's here, but the pulley and the bearings are gone. It's hollow in there. But the brake is still here, connected. And it's on here too. Tension pulleys here, along with that. This is all like there, you know. This one has that too. This is missing 2 spindles, the 2 idler pulleys. However, this one's here. So I'm thinking maybe I could just take like one of these off and put it over there, like this one. Yeah, this one looks good. I could just take this one off and put it on there, and that'll be good. We're done. You know what I mean? So I should take these 2, put them in my trailer and bring them to the garage so I can work on it. Probably my next video. So actually I have to rethink this because I was looking at them kind of carefully and they're not exactly the same. I remember somebody was telling me about I have to make sure that I put it on the right kind of machine because while I think I could easily make one good one out of these 2, right? The deck, both decks itself are solid. They're just some surface rust here and there, right? But this is more complete. It has 2 pulleys here. But this one looks like it's seized. It's not moving. So I think the bearings inside are busted, right? But the spindles and pulleys for the blades are good on that. And it's missing here. This one here, this is good. And this is good. So both pulleys and spindles are good here. Okay? But it's missing this apparatus over here. But it looks like this one is good too. So if I could just put the idler, the tension pulley off of here and put it here, it'd be good. But if you also notice, the 2 rear hangers here are different. This one's like a ZZ Top shaped one, and this one's straight. This one has like a hooking thing, which looks like you can only use for a cable. This looks like you have to put a cable through here. Whereas, I guess these 2 could be too, but I'm not sure, you know? Just not sure. And then you got this thing. I don't know what this thing is, because this one doesn't have it, you know? So I'm starting to think that the tractor that I just fixed, right, that has a cable to it. So I'm thinking I have to use this one here. I believe this is the one that Pete Lombardi gave me, and this is the one that's off of that. So I just need to put this spindle on here. And this one's seized, so I'll take this one off and put this one on. This one works. This one is seized. This one works. So I think I'm going to do that next. So tune in to my next episode where I make 2 decks into one working one for the cable PTO on the LT1000, the Pete Lombardi LT1000. I don't know what I'm going to do with that one. That one's got 4 bad tires, no engine. The seat's crap because it's a spare. Hood has been scavenged, right? I've taken stuff off of it. So that one, you know what? I bet you that deck is complete, and that's also cable driven. What if I just took that deck and put it on that one? I'm going to have to figure all that out. I got to figure out whether I just take that one off and put it on there, or make one out of these two. Anyway, I look forward to your comments, guys. A lot of you guys are deck experts, and you've seen the decks that I'm talking about here. What should I do? I look forward to hearing your advice. Anyway, that's it today. We did quite a bit. Finally got the Pete Lombardi mower going. We got the engine started, put it all together, and there's nothing wrong with the drive. I drove around the block, man, no problem. So 4 good wheels, good hood. Still need to find lights for that thing, maybe. Got a seat on there. This thing starts, runs well, drives. It just doesn't mow. Hopefully in my next episode we'll get that thing to mow. See you guys next time on Mowers and Blowers. So it's actually non-adjustable, so I can't lean out or make rich the fuel. I mean, it runs great and stuff, but when it's driving, it kind of surged a little unless I put the throttle down lower, you know? So I don't think the stator's charging. That's full throttle. That's idle. Still shows the same voltage. This engine doesn't appear to have a voltage regulator. So the wires coming out of the stator should be dual circuit. Should be this white wire right here. And it could be different because there's another 2 wires coming out of there too. Into this one. Goes away on the other side. None of those wires give off 13 volts or anything. I'm gonna have to figure it out next episode. Hey guys, support my channel. Buy a sticker. Also follow me on Instagram at MowersBlowers. Check out my website, mowersblowers.com. See you guys on my next project. Have a great day.